Is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
It's definitely gotten better. They moved 35 camps out.
We begin with the high cost of homelessness and some before and after images of a large homeless camp in Hermitage.
Well, Fox 17 News has stayed on top of this issue and the cleanup efforts, resulting in a major change. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller went out there today after several follow-ups, and she joins us live at the Metro Courthouse tonight with an update from city leaders. Caitlin?
Yes, well, Metro Councilman Jordan Huffman says that trespass warrants have been filed and are being strictly enforced. And he says this has really helped keep the area quieter and safer for everyone in the neighborhood. The Hermitage encampment, located near Old Hickory Boulevard and Andrew Jackson Way, used to look like this. It was permanently closed in January. There was trash, needles, and homeless people who are causing safety concerns around businesses and neighborhoods.
There should be so many homeless people flooding in and out.
Hermitage resident Chad Bobo says the area was dangerous, especially for all the families. Metro's Office of Homeless Services says everyone who lived in this camp was offered housing, but people who live nearby say they still saw homeless people roaming around after January.
We have no trespassing signs that we put up all the length of our property along the creek back over here in the trees. And so that's what we do is we try to keep them out if they try to come back.
But Hermitage Golf Learning Center owner Steven Sisko tells Fox 17 News he noticed a difference after the trespass warrants were filed. He says it has been a community effort.
People feel safer, and you don't have people yelling and screaming, and where they're here hitting golf balls don't feel safe if they see a numerous amount of people coming in and out of the trees.
But Sisko says keeping it like this is key to making customers feel comfortable enough to come and bring their friends. Now, Councilman Huffman says that the city is doing a good job at helping finding these people housing, but he says that they could really use more funding for mental health services as well as substance abuse services. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
In Operation Crime and Justice, a repeat offender charged with attacking a nurse practitioner and injuring a police officer at TriStar Centennial Medical Center. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar is live at Centennial Hospital with more on what happened and what bail reform advocates are asking for tonight. Karen.
Well, it all happened right here behind me at this hospital. Bail reform advocates tell me they want change.
Inside of TriStar Centennial Medical Center, police say Officer Justin Ramos was hurt by patient Arthurio Morris. He is also accused of punching nurse practitioner Marshall Tyler. Verna Wyatt is a co-founder of Tennessee Voices for Victims.
It's wild. I mean, you think about what the nurses do every day to save lives, and they're in there trying to help this person, and he totally turns on them.
Police say this happened on Sunday. They say Morris tried to leave the emergency room. They also say Officer Ramos and Tyler tried to stop him but were hurt while he was resisting. Officer Ramos, police say, was hurt so badly his left knee gave out.
They become the victims of a crime because he's off his nut or whatever. It's ridiculous.
Court records show Morris is a repeat offender. He's been charged with crimes from robbery to attempted first-degree murder.
He's not a squeaky clean guy. He has a rap sheet. He attempted murder. So why are we going to let him back out on the street again?
But he was let out, and this time his bond is less than $40,000. This means he can get out again if someone comes up with $4,000.
This guy, I don't know who he is, but I can tell you when he gets back out on the street, he's going to be doing the very same thing that sent him to the hospital in the first place.
There is a bail reform panel tomorrow night. Reporting live in front of the TriStar Centennial Medical Center, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Operation Crime and Justice new numbers show Nashville's juvenile homicide rate is inching up, but those who work with teens here say there is no easy fix. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker shows us what victims' families would like to see from city and state leaders.
Talia Monjay says her son had just graduated from Hillsborough High School 1 month before he was shot and killed after leaving a friend's birthday party. This mother says her young son had so much more life to live, and she doesn't want any other families to go through something like this.
This Nashville mother forever changed by the loss of her son.
12 years later, I still have my moments.
He was gunned down by 2 teens 12 years ago.
We celebrated him going to prom in April, his graduation in May, and early June he was dead.
Talia Monjay used that pain as a driving force to help other families, starting an organization in honor of her son, which caters to youth through community programs and helps parents look out for red flags or warning signs.
Give them something else to look forward to other than guns, drugs, poverty, crime. What are we going to do? What are our leaders going to do in the city of Nashville other than, watch the city grow?
On Tuesday, we spoke with the juvenile court judge Sheila Calloway on her efforts to tackle teenage crime after we found that 4 teenagers in Nashville were shot and killed in the last 3 weeks.
Accountability isn't always equal to incarceration.
Judge Sheila Calloway says the system has several programs ranging from addiction recovery to gang resistance interventions.
Positive programs for our youth to hold them accountable, to make sure that they understand what they did was wrong, and to help them to learn not to do those behaviors again.
So what happens to those who don't respond to programs?
With things becoming violent, or more violent in recent weeks, do the consequences become greater?
So again, I think it does each depend on each case.
Judge Calloway says there are times when she'll have to make that call to send someone to adult jail if they're not responding.
And some state lawmakers are taking a little bit of a different approach on this. Last House session, state reps passed the Parental Accountability Act. This would allow the juvenile courts to fine the parents up to $1,000 for certain acts of these kids. We have more of this information on our website, fox17.com. For now, reporting in Nashville, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
All right, the heat is on just in time for the first day of summer. Imagine that.
Yeah. What do you know?
Perfect time.
Yeah. It's been pretty toasty for the week, but yes, as we get into Thursday, more so into Friday and Saturday, we're looking at the temperatures to climb into the mid to upper 90s. And yes, I do think we could hit 100 as we head towards the weekend. One of the reasons why we are going to be warming up is the fact that we'll have drier air around, and we're going to see a little more sunshine compared to what we've had the past couple of days, which has kept us actually in the 80s. Temperatures at the moment sitting right around 79 in Nashville, 78 in Murfreesboro, Lebanon, right around 74 degrees. It'll be another warm night ahead, and you can see a pretty quiet night for us here in the Volunteer State. We do have heat advisories and extreme heat warnings in effect just north of us, Great Lakes region and up into New England. And then your eye probably drawn to Tropical Storm Alberto, which will continue to move toward Mexico, but is throwing quite a bit of rain and flooding concerns that continue in the state of Texas. So that is going to be where we see impacts from Tropical Storm Alberto. As far as temperatures go for tonight, we stay pretty mild in those low 70s. But again, if you've noticed over the past few days, slightly drier air this afternoon that will allow our temperatures overnight to slide a little more into those mid to upper 60s and low 70s here in Nashville. We'll talk more about the heat, when we could reach 100, and if we have any rain in sight. It's in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with Feed America for the Sinclair Cares Summer Hunger Relief Program. You can donate by scanning the QR code on your screen or go to sinclaircares.com.
In your health news, more than 38 million Americans are estimated to have diabetes. Summertime and the warmer temperatures present a health risk for diabetics. That's because experts say those people can actually feel the heat more than people who are not diabetic. In tonight's Health Minute, Fox 17 News' Amanda Chin has ways to manage diabetes in the heat.
Extreme heat can be hard on everyone, but experts say it's especially dangerous for those with diabetes.
Patients with diabetes have to be really careful in the heat, to really think even more than they normally do about the direction of their blood sugar.
Dr. Bethika Thompson with Mayo Clinic says sweating can make you dehydrated, which affects the body's ability to normalize blood sugar. In a diabetic patient, that can make sugar levels in the blood get dangerously low or high.
So it's kind of a slippery slope there where it makes you quite ill.
Thompson says those with diabetes can protect against extreme heat, check blood sugar levels often, maintain good hydration, stay indoors during the hottest part of the day, but make sure you're still getting some physical activity.
You need to have a plan to keep yourself active because you don't want to get through the summer months without any significant activity and have that, be a risk to you and your overall health with your diabetes.
The heat can affect diabetes supplies, equipment, and medication too. Thompson says to make sure you don't keep them in a hot car. Follow instructions from a doctor or on the label on how to store it. Amanda Chin for Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Well, the CDC also says those with diabetes should not let the heat stop them from taking supplies or medication when they go out. Instead, experts say to keep insulin and other medication in a cooler place if you're traveling. And they say not to put the insulin directly on ice or on a gel pack.
In your community tonight, it appears the endangered Nashville crayfish is making a comeback. Local experts who have been studying this freshwater crustacean say their numbers are on the rise. The crayfish make their home mainly in creeks around our city, and they are very social, sometimes living in groups of 60 under a single rock. There is talk of taking them off the endangered list, but experts feel right now they still need protection because rapid growth threatens their habitat.
All right, Katie, we're moving into the dog days of summer, it feels like.
First day of summer, and it's going to be feeling like the first day of summer here, and officially begins at 3:51 tomorrow afternoon. So we'll be feeling the heat for sure, with temperatures in the mid-90s as we head into the afternoon hours. We take a look at those numbers. We'll be around 85 at 10 o'clock in the morning. So if you like to get up, maybe do some exercise, you want to do it early. Mainly sunny skies. I do expect a little more sunshine for tomorrow, and that will help push our temperature into the mid-90s for the afternoon. We should hover around 93 by 2 and 93 by 5. In between that, we'll likely hit our afternoon high around 95 or so. Our heat index will be up there for tomorrow, but it could be worse. I mentioned the drier air that is going to be the case for the next few days, and that's good news in the heat index department. It could be a lot worse. We could be well into the hundreds, and the oppressive feeling could be around as well. It is feeling slightly drier. There is a little bit drier air around, which will bring more sunshine through the afternoon and will allow our temperatures to slide. It'll keep the heat index values in check a little bit here. We'll hover right around that 100-degree mark as we go through the day on Thursday. And then notice as we head into Thursday night, early Friday morning, we drop back into those low 80s for what it will feel like. Then as we get into mid-morning, we're already in those upper 80s to low 90s, and once again hovering around that 100-degree mark for Friday. So again, could be in that 105, 110 range, but the good news is the mugginess just won't be quite as oppressive as we head through the day on Thursday and Friday. Then going into Friday night, still feeling quite stuffy with mid to upper 80s, even some low 90s on the map for us. As far as rain chances go, they will be slim to none. Green light all 3 days, making sure you keep the garden watered. There will be a stray shower chance as we head toward the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Sunday looking a little bit better maybe than Saturday. These are going to be isolated, and it'll be one of those situations where if you do end up seeing the rain, you win the rain lottery for the day. As we take a look here, high pressure is in play, and that's going to keep most of the rain chances well north of us or out to the west and to the south where the tropical storm Alberto is. Notice through Friday morning we stay pretty quiet, and then into the afternoon still mainly quiet here. Through Saturday, here's that stray shower chance that's possible for us. I don't think I would rely on rain for Saturday. Most of us should stay dry, but a quick downpour or two could be possible in that popcorn variety where it'll pop up. We don't know where exactly, but during the heat of the afternoon it is possible. Saturday night into Sunday, you can see that we start the day dry here. So we get into Sunday afternoon, some showers starting to build to our north and to our west, especially as we head into Monday as well. We'll have a slightly better chance for some rain to come in and help push these numbers back into the low 90s going into next week. Coming up, we'll talk more about the high temperatures for tomorrow, and we'll explain too what a heat island is and how it impacts our afternoon temperatures.
There's a nationwide push to ban cell phones in classrooms. I'm Atrell Nashar with a look at why the issue isn't as simple as it may seem.
Hey there, I'm Jennifer Waddell from Fox 17 News this morning. Hope you're having a great night. You know, so much of the U.S., including right here at home, seeing an extended period of extreme heat.
Well, tonight in Crisis in the Classroom, a report called on by experts to ban cell phones in America's classrooms.
Fox 17 News' Atra El Nashar looks at one school district that essentially did just that and tells us how it's going. And you can let us know what you think. You can vote on this issue by scanning the QR code that will appear on your screen during our story.
Across the country, momentum is building behind efforts to separate students from smartphones during the school day.
I think the research is clear, the harmful effects on kids' mental health, the physical health, their academics.
On Tuesday, the Los Angeles Unified School District greenlit a plan to ban phones on campus starting in 2025. The logistics are yet to be worked out. California Governor Gavin Newsom says he wants to see this statewide. Back in 2019, he signed a law that allows schools to ban phone use. It's a rare area of agreement shared by his political rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who last year signed a law requiring schools to ban phones in class. States all over the country are taking similar steps.
They're not constantly trying to check their phones. They're not constantly trying to text their friends.
72% of high school teachers in the U.S. and a third of middle school teachers say cell phone distraction is a major problem, according to a new poll by Pew Research Center.
This warning label is...
It was just this week that Surgeon General Vivek Murthy said social media is so harmful to teens, platforms should come with a warning label, like what's on a pack of cigarettes. Some schools have started using special locked pouches which fit phones, headphones, and smartwatches. And a faculty member has a special device to unlock them at the end of the day.
Now, you'd expect students to be upset if their phones are taken away, but a lot of parents also say they oppose phone bans because they want to be able to reach their child in the event of an emergency, like a school shooting.
It was a text message this morning from my daughter, and it was absolutely horrifying.
In January, when a 17-year-old opened fire at Perry Middle and High School outside Des Moines, for this mom, communication was everything.
The best phone call I got was saying that they were okay.
But that's cut off if phones are banned or locked up. Smartphones have become almost an extension of ourselves. Taking them away would be a major change, for better or worse. In Washington, I'm Atrell Nashar reporting.
During that story, we had a QR code on screen linking you to a poll asking if you think cell phones should be banned in schools. Well, you see the results, 502 people weighing in. The overwhelming majority, 73.1%, say yes. Our thanks for all who took time to cast a ballot.
Crisis in the Classroom is Fox 17 News' commitment to exposing problems in our schools and finding solutions. If you have a story that you think we should cover, send us an email to news@fox17.com. You can also call our tip line at 615-266-4149.
New tonight, Louisiana becomes the first state in the nation to require the 10 Commandments to be displayed in a public school classroom. Louisiana's Governor Jeff Landry signed that bill into law today. It requires poster-sized displays of the commandments in all public school classrooms in his state. It goes into effect next year, will be funded by private dollars and not public. 4 groups, though, including the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, are threatening to sue. These groups say a 1980 U.S. Supreme Court decision bans such displays.
Up next, digging into the newest numbers involving teen crime here in Nashville. What experts say.
In Operation Crime and Justice, new numbers that paint a picture about the status of juvenile crime in Nashville.
Well, Fox 17 News' Peyton Mew shows us what exactly those numbers say.
While numbers show the teen homicide rate is on the rise, teen detentions are holding steady. From 2022 until now, there is hardly any change, but the juvenile court says it's important to note the numbers don't show the entire story. From the arrest numbers, you can't see who was quickly released or who had a long stay.
I took a look at the numbers for the first 5 months from the past 3 years. Since we're not done with June yet, we're looking at January until May. This year, 224 juveniles were admitted and detained. In 2023, 233. So these numbers have actually gone down by 9. And in 2022, 186. Pastor Howard Jones, who worked as a juvenile court probation officer, does not believe these numbers tell the full picture.
It appears that we're doing so much better when we know that our students, our children in the city are committing more serious crimes.
Pastor Jones is also a Metro Schools principal. He says students walk the halls of his school with ankle monitors, and some of those kids committed serious crimes.
The student just this year, for instance, he was being investigated for a murder. He was back in the school system. Not detained, but back in the school system.
And the Davidson County Juvenile Court says overall numbers of youth committing serious crimes where they're being tried as an adult has gone down, and serious crimes in youth has significantly gone down. In studio, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
We want to know what you think about this. What's the answer to curbing juvenile crime? 607 people have weighed in. The largest number of the respondents say stricter punishment, more than 58%. Closest behind that, family intervention at 28.2%, community involvement 9.2%, and other 4.3%. Poll still live. You can cast your vote by scanning the QR code on the right-hand side of your screen, and we will update the results for you coming up tonight on Fox 17 News at 10.
Well, heat has been the story for the week, and unfortunately, we're about ready to experience much hotter conditions. We take you through the forecast for Thursday, and you notice that temperatures start off quite warm. We're in the low 70s, mainly area-wide. Outside of city centers, we could drop into the mid to upper 60s. But as we get into the afternoon, those temperatures will climb into the low to mid 90s. Something I want you to know, and maybe you've noticed it before, is how much warmer Nashville is compared to other locations around Middle Tennessee. There's a reason for that. It's called an urban heat island and can occur more often when we have little to no wind, and of course in the summertime, and drier air that's in play, which is basically all the things that we have going on for us this week. Typically we can see those city temperatures anywhere between 4 to 8 degrees warmer than rural locations, and a lot of this has to do, of course, with the fact that we're in an urban area where we have more infrastructure, we have pavement, a lot more of it, and asphalt that will heat up a lot faster than grassy areas in rural locations. So when you see these temperatures on the map, and you may have wondered in the past why Nashville tends to be a little bit warmer, it all has to do with that urban heat effect.
Well, we are officially in hurricane season now, and our first named storm will be making landfall early tomorrow morning. Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Brett Luna has more on Alberto.
This is Tropical Storm Alberto down here just off the coast of Mexico, and it's set to make landfall within the next several hours with maximum sustained winds around 45 miles per hour. Alberto is still headed into favorable conditions tonight too, so it's not really going to weaken up at all before it makes landfall. This is a very large storm too, and it's bringing the wind, but more so some very heavy rainfall to areas along the Gulf Coast. Parts of Mexico could pick up a good 10 inches of rain, and parts of South Texas could get more than 5 inches of rain. Moderate coastal flooding is possible along much of the Texas coast. We're also watching a couple of other areas for development right now too. One of those is over here in the Atlantic Ocean, right over there where that yellow X is. That's an area of showers and thunderstorms a few hundred miles east of the Bahamas. Environmental conditions are only marginally conducive due to the nearby dry air, but the National Hurricane Center is still giving this disturbance a 30% chance of development within the next 2 days and 7 days. Back down in the southwestern part of the Gulf of Mexico, there's a broad area of storms that should develop near the Yucatan Peninsula Friday. The National Hurricane Center has given that area a 0% chance of development within the next 2 days and a 40% chance of becoming a tropical depression.
Tennessee Vols continuing their dominance in Omaha today, taking down Florida State. And now the Vols are back in the World Series finals for the first time since 1951. Yes, it has been that long. Vols taking on that same Florida State team they beat in a come-from-behind thriller last Friday. But this time, Vols in full control. Top of the first with 2 runners on. Hunter Ensley coming up clutch with a line drive off John Abraham. 1 run coming in for Tennessee, and the Vols take a 2-0 lead. Now check out this next play. Bottom of the first, Vols outfielder Kavares Tears crashes into the wall and still comes up with the catch. Some spectacular plays by Tennessee's outfield all postseason, and that's certainly one of them. 4th inning, Vols keep it going. Christian Moore rips this pitch down the line for a triple. That will make it 5-0 Tennessee, and the Vols don't stop there. 9th inning, Blake Burke, cherry on top. Vols starting pitcher Xander Sechrist allowing just 2 earned runs in 6 innings of work. Had a great night. Vols take down Florida State 7-2 and advance to the College World Series finals.
There's we can always say before something happens, and there's been a lot of build up into the successes we've had this year and the failures too, to be honest with you. And it's just been fun to be a part of. And as far as my emotions, I'm kind of at the point where I'm just following these guys. There's certain tasks that I have to do, and there's direction that I give them, and they'll listen, but kind of following them right now makes it nice.
The 3-game championship series will begin on Saturday. Nashville hosting its first ever Live Golf tournament this weekend, and that includes this golfer right here, the 2024 U.S. Open champion, Bryson DeChambeau. He arrived Tuesday and even brought that beautiful U.S. Open trophy with him to the Music City. Now, Nashville is the 9th tournament on Live's 14-event schedule and is expected to be one of the loudest. When asked about his plans to contribute to that excitement, here's what DeChambeau had to say.
More great shots, more exciting, thrilling, amazing shots, and I gotta recover and get ready for Friday. Certainly, it's been a whirlwind for me, and a lot of adrenaline going through my body the past few days. There's going to be a adrenaline dump here in the next day probably, and I gotta get myself back up and ready for Friday.
Live Golf does have a different format than the PGA Tour. They play a 3-round, 54-hole, no-cut format, and the purse is bigger too. Live Nashville has a total purse of $25 million, which is actually $3.5 million more than the purse last weekend from the U.S. Open. Jill Johnlick, Fox 17 Sports, your Code Red station.
Coming up, talking more about the Live Golf tournament forecast.
Well, it's your money, and in the next 10 years, the national debt is projected to top the $56 trillion mark. Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins tonight investigating what that means for our economy.
The national debt continues to head in the wrong direction and at an accelerated pace. On Tuesday, the Congressional Budget Office releasing an updated report predicting the debt clock will hit and surpass the $56 trillion mark by 2034. At the moment, the debt remains just under $35 trillion. This comes as the U.S. continues to spend more money than it collects in taxes.
Continuing to spend massively more than we take in and adding every year massively to the national debt will not go on forever. And unless we deal with it in a constructive way, we will have a financial catastrophe at some point.
For 2024, the CBO predicting the U.S. will spend $1.9 trillion more than it brings in. That's up from the initially predicted $1.6 trillion deficit for this year. The increase was largely driven by President Biden canceling $100 billion in student loan debt, as well as the ballooning costs of aiding Ukraine and Israel, and increased Medicaid spending.
We have a political system where instead of doing any of the necessary hard things that budgets require, our politicians seem to bury their heads in the sand.
A partial or full extension of Donald Trump's 2017 tax cuts, which Biden and Trump have said they support to varying degrees, will increase the deficits further.
It's not just spending. It is both spending and taxing. You have to do both in order to reach balance.
The leaders elected this fall will have to make important decisions that will impact the country's financial well-being, like whether or not to raise the debt limit and by how much. Also, whether or not to extend Donald Trump's 2017 tax cuts, as well as important decisions on healthcare subsidies. On Capitol Hill, I'm Kayla Gaskins. Well, Juneteenth festivities taking over Nashville today in commemoration of the end of slavery here in the U.S. Juneteenth 615 presented more than 20 different celebrations across Nashville, including an appearance from the mayor, live performances,
and fireworks presentation, all honoring African American culture, achievements, and history. The lineup included events such as Music City Freedom Festival at Hadley Park and Taste of Freedom Restaurant Week. The nation's youngest holiday celebrates this day in 1865 when federal troops freed the last set of slaves in Galveston, Texas.
Well, the folks at all those outdoor, celebrations felt the heat today, but at least we didn't have any rain today.
Yeah, that's true. And it looks like next few days should be relatively dry for us as well. Although eventually
we need that cool off.
We're going to need that cool off.
At some point,
exactly.
yeah.
At some point. I think we do see it later in the weekend, but it'll be a few days before we get there. Things pretty quiet, though, from Metro Center, and we will, again, stay quiet for the overnight Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. Most of us staying comfortable, or I should say quiet, with mainly clear skies, a little more sunshine around. I thought we'd take a look at June so far and our averages as far as what has been above average or below average. These are temperatures here. So anything in a blue box indicates that days that were below average, and notice there aren't very many of them. June has been a pretty warm month for us. Everything in orange indicates an at or above average temperature for us, and even today we have been looking at highs above average. This month, as far as rain goes, started off a bit on the wet side after a very soggy May and stormy May, and then notice that we've dried out here with at least measurable rainfall in the rain gauge here, a handful of days, just over a handful here. So again, we keep the dry weather around, I would say, through at least the beginning of this weekend. And then as we get towards Sunday, next Sunday, and into Monday of next week, our chances will begin to increase just a little bit in the form of pop-up showers and thunderstorms. But high temperatures here compared to the average high, which is right around 89 degrees to 90, is going to be above average for the next several days. So 95 for tomorrow, up to 98 on Friday, 100 Saturday and Sunday, and looking to stay above average even as we head into next week. We'll have a little bit better chance for rain to go along with it. Tomorrow morning, if you like to get up and do some exercise early, want to be as early as you can. 6 a.m. we're already looking at 70 degrees, and it'll feel warmer than that, of course, but we'll climb into those upper 70s, close to 80 degrees by 9 o'clock in the morning. Again, expecting a little more of that sunshine to be around for us as we head through the afternoon. Live Golf Tournament Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Again, those temperatures will be hovering close to 100 degrees. Friday around 98, 100 for Saturday, and 100 for Sunday. And notice that there are not many opportunities for rain. I think a spot shower will be possible both days here for Saturday and Sunday. Majority of us, though, stay dry for the afternoon throughout the weekend. So we take a look at your 7-day forecast, and you can see those numbers. They are quite high, and we'll stay above average all the way through next week. So 98 for Monday and Tuesday, around 96, and then a few showers and storms possible later half of the weekend, early next week, but really nothing too organized. This will be your run-of-the-mill showers and storms.
Earlier in the newscast, we asked you, what's the answer to curbing juvenile crime? We've had 632 votes come in on this, and most respondents, 58.1%, said stricter punishment is the answer, compared to 27.8% that said family intervention, and 9.8% said community involvement, 4.3% said other. This poll live right now. To cast your vote, you can scan the QR code right there on your screen. It will take you to our X page where you can vote. We'll have updated results for you tonight at 10.
Up next, worth their weight in gold, why mid-state Ds are vitally important.
Hey there, I'm Jennifer Waddell from Fox 17 News this morning. Hope you're having a great night. You know, so much of the U.S., including right here at home, seeing an extended period of extreme heat.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with Feed America for the Sinclair Cares Summer Hunger Relief Program. You can donate by scanning the QR code on your screen or go to sinclaircares.com.
Well, right now we're in the middle of National Pollinator Week, and we're recognizing the vital role of honeybees. They pollinate $15 billion worth of crops here in the U.S. each year.
Hard workers, to be sure. Fox 17 News' Johnny Maffey takes us behind the scenes with a beekeeper in Brentwood.
What are beekeepers doing this time of year?
So this time of year, we're actually finishing up the honey flows. So we're getting ready to actually pull honey off of our hives and start bottling honey. So this is our season. We've had a really good season.
Tammy Cherney has been a beekeeper since 2015 and even teaches classes on bees and pollination. After we suited up, she gave us a look inside the hives.
These particular bees are doing what we call washboarding. We actually don't know what washboarding is and why they do it, but it happens at the end of the season.
She also taught us how the smoke is actually to calm the bees down.
Now these girls are really calm right now. We're still at the very end of the honey flow, and you can see they are filling up these frames with nectar, and you can see the wax on these combs is very white.
Last year, the Bee Haven, as she's known in the bee world, drew around 400 pounds of honey. Some of her hives froze, though, over the winter, but she hopes to hit that sweet mark again. In Brentwood, I'm Johnny Maffey, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Fascinating. All right. Gagging Mr. Trump, whether he can talk about his fraud case up in New York now that he's been convicted.
And not just for selfies. What a new study reveals about how people are using the site formerly known as Twitter. Well, new tonight, New York's highest court declines to hear former President Donald Trump's gag order appeal in his hush money case. The order prohibits Trump from speaking about jurors, witnesses, and other parties involved in the case. Trump's attorney asked the judge to terminate the order now that the trial is over, but the Manhattan District Attorney's Office advised to keep the restrictions until Trump's sentencing July 11th. Trump was found guilty last month of falsifying business records in an effort to hide a hush money payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels.
In politics, it seems X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, is a popular destination for a lot more than selfies. 59% of users say the platform is their one-stop shop for political news. That's according to a recent study by the Pew Research Center. This is compared to 36% of TikTok users and 26% of Facebook and Instagram users. Most users of TikTok tell the polling company that they primarily use the app for entertainment. Facebook and Instagram users say they mainly log on to check up on family and friends.
Businesses and neighbors say that they're relieved after a large homeless encampment in Hermitage closes. More on how it's impacting their neighborhood coming up tonight at 10.
A repeat offender is accused of hurting a first responder and a nurse practitioner. Coming up, I'll tell you what bail reform advocates have to say about it.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
It was more of a grassroots effort to get the homeless out of this area.
Tonight, the high cost of homelessness, before and after images of a sizable homeless camp in Hermitage.
Fox 17 News has stayed on top of this issue and the cleanup efforts resulting in a major change. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller, she went out there today after several follow-ups. She joins us live tonight at the Metro Courthouse with an update from city leaders. Caitlin.
Yes, well, Metro Councilman Jordan Huffman says that trespassing warrants have been filed and are being strictly enforced. And Huffman says that this is really helping people and preventing people from returning to this property. Now, the Hermitage encampment was located near Old Hickory Boulevard and Andrew Jackson Way, which used to look like this, and then it permanently closed in January. Metro's Office of Homeless Services says everyone who lived in this camp was offered housing. But people who live nearby say they still saw homeless people roaming around, and in January. And now they say it's finally become a lot more quiet.
People feel safer, and you don't have people yelling and screaming, and where they're here hitting golf balls don't feel safe if they see a numerous amount of people coming in and out of the trees.
Cisco and other business owners say they hope it stays this way. Now, Councilman Huffman says that the city is doing a good job at getting these people housing, but he says the city definitely needs more funding to have more mental health and substance abuse services. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
This guy, I don't know who he is, but I can tell you when he gets back out on the street, he's going to be doing the very same thing that sent him to the hospital in the first place.
Anger tonight after a Metro police officer and a nurse practitioner are injured by a hospital patient with a past. Metro police say this man is a repeat offender. Now, they were injured in the emergency room at Centennial Medical Center in Midtown. And Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar now live at the hospital tonight with more on what happened and the man police say is responsible for the violence.
That's right, Scott. Police say the man who is accused of attacking the two came right here behind me to the TriStar Centennial Medical Center emergency room to get help and ended up punching the help. A nurse practitioner. They say the suspect is Arthurio Morris. They say Morris tried to leave the emergency room. They also say Officer Ramos and the nurse Marshall Tyler tried to stop him but were hurt while he was resisting arrest. Court records show Morris is a repeat offender and his bond is less than $40,000, meaning he would have to pay a few $100s less than $4,000 to get out. We asked a bail reform advocate, Verna Wyatt, is there a reason low bond could be given? Here's her answer.
Everyone is entitled to be able to post bond unless there's some extenuating circumstances. But for me, I say let's look at those extenuating circumstances because lately most of these cases have them, just like this guy.
Morris's next court date is on July the 12th. He has several charges, including aggravated assault and resisting arrest. There is a bail reform panel tomorrow that includes judges and the DA. Reporting live here in front of the TriStar Centennial Medical Center, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
12 years later, you know, I still have my moments.
In Operation Crime and Justice, victims' families speak up on teen violence as homicide rates of those 17 and up are on the rise. Now, Elijah Monge lost her 17-year-old son to gun violence after he was shot by two teens while leaving a party back in June 12 years ago. Monge has since started a foundation in honor of her son, the Antword Covington Jr. Foundation, which helps parents look out for warning signs within their kids. It also caters to the youth through various programs.
Give them something else to look forward to other than guns, drugs, poverty, crime. What are we going to do? What are our leaders going to do in the city of Nashville other than, you know, watch the city grow?
Mayor Freddie O'Connell says that he's working with nonprofits and MNPD to create a safer environment. Also, last House session, state reps passed the Parental Accountability Act, allowing juvenile courts to fine parents up to $1,000 for certain acts. We have more on this on our website, fox17.com.
Continuing coverage now as Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse has new numbers on just how many of our teenagers are spending time behind bars.
While numbers show the teen homicide rate is on the rise, teen detentions are holding steady. From 2022 until now, there is hardly any change, but the juvenile court says it's important to note the numbers don't show the entire story. From the arrest numbers, you can't see who was quickly released or who had a long stay.
I took a look at the numbers for the first 5 months from the past 3 years. Since we're not done with June yet, we're looking at January until May. This year, 224 juveniles were admitted and detained. In 2023, 233. So these numbers have actually gone down by 9. And in 2022, 186. Pastor Howard Jones, who worked as a juvenile court probation officer, does not believe these numbers tell the full picture.
It appears that we're doing so much better when we know that our students, our children in the city are committing more serious crimes.
Pastor Jones is also a Metro Schools principal. He says students walk the halls of his school with ankle monitors, and some of those kids committed serious crimes.
A student just this year, for instance, he was being investigated for a murder. He was back in the school system. not detained, but back in the school system.
And the Davidson County Juvenile Court says overall numbers of youth committing serious crimes where they're being tried as an adult has gone down, and serious crimes in youth has significantly gone down. In studio, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Peyton, thank you. This is obviously a talker, and we always want to know what you think. So the question of the day is, what's the answer to curbing juvenile crime in Nashville? 639 votes are in. The majority of those folks, 58.2%, say stricter punishment. The next largest group, family intervention. The poll is still live. If you'd like to cast your vote, just scan the QR code there on the right-hand side of the screen. It'll take you to our X page, or you can get there the old-fashioned way. Our handle is @FoxNashville.
Another stuffy night ahead, although a little bit drier air around for tomorrow morning. Should put our morning temperatures in the low 70s, maybe some 60s outside of city centers, but still feeling a bit warm for us. Temperature will be around 71 at 7 o'clock. Looking at mainly sunny skies for tomorrow and up to about 79 as we head towards 9 o'clock. Again, the drier air will help us fluctuate a little bit more as far as temperatures go. A little more sunshine for tomorrow, too, will put temperatures in the mid-90s, most likely. Radar is dry. That's the way it will stay for the next several days. Overnight lows here in Nashville, right around 71. Franklin, Smyrna, Fairview, all around 70 degrees. We'll look at a partly cloudy sky for Dover, Waverly, Paris, and Clarksville, hovering right around 69. As we head to the south and to the west of Nashville, Columbia, Pulaski, Lawrenceburg, all sitting in the mid to upper 60s. So again, that drier air helping to work some of these temperatures a little bit lower here. Manchester, Tullahoma, Shelbyville, right around 66 degrees. And we'll start the day with partly cloudy skies in the upper Cumberland region. Looking at Gainesboro around 68, Cookeville around 67. And we'll warm up quickly as we head towards the afternoon. We'll talk more about the heat when 100 is possible. That coming up.
Still ahead tonight, Tropical Storm Alberto on the move. The problems. New tonight, the U.S. and Israel are at odds over military aid for Israel's war in Gaza.
Fox 17 News' Matt Galka now with more on the latest tensions.
It's inconceivable that in the past few months, the administration has been withholding weapons and ammunition to Israel. Israel, America's closest ally, fighting for its life, fighting against Iran and our other common enemies.
This video from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu blaming the Biden administration for withholding military aid is not being received well at the White House.
We generally do not know what he's talking about. We just don't.
The State Department said only one shipment of 2,000-pound bombs has been withheld. In May, the president delayed that shipment over civilian casualty concerns in Gaza. Axios reports the Netanyahu video led to the U.S. canceling a high-level meeting scheduled for Thursday between U.S. and Israeli officials discussing Iran. The White House has tiptoed the line between Israeli support and condemnation for the civilian casualty war toll on Palestinians. Netanyahu is set to address Congress in July, an issue that's divided Democrats. Some have already said they won't go.
Prime Minister Netanyahu has created a humanitarian catastrophe. He has also made clear that he does not support U.S. policy for a two-state solution that will let the people of Israel and the Palestinians develop their own nation.
Progressive New York Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called Netanyahu a war criminal in response to the video statement and said his congressional invite should be revoked.
While the Iran meeting set for Thursday is canceled, other meetings are still on. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is still set to meet with his Israeli counterpart, and Israel's defense minister is still traveling to D.C. next week. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
I'm Angela Brown in Washington, D.C. Perception versus reality. We're talking to everyday Americans about.
Chip maker NVIDIA is now the world's most valuable company, worth $3.34 trillion. That's with a T, ahead of Microsoft and Apple. The company has long been known as a maker of high-end graphics cards for PC gamers, but has emerged in recent years as the key supplier for firms racing to develop advanced AI. Mortgage rates have declined for the second week in a row. The 30-year average for a mortgage dropped to 6.94% for the week ending June 14th, down from 7.02% the week before. Mortgage rates are moderating after signs inflation is retreating again. A headline in the Wall Street Journal says social media influencers aren't getting rich. They're barely getting by. The report claims 48% of creators made $15,000 or less last year.
I have a couple million followers on TikTok. The joke these days is that's like nothing. It's like, oh, you don't have 20 million, then you're not. Like, those are the people that are making full salaries. I know people with 5, 10 million followers on social media, and they're working day jobs.
Another option hits Subway's Sidekicks menu. Foot-long dippers are $3 and are served hot. Swirling melted cheese and meat rolled up in Subway's lavash-style flatbread. The 3 varieties, pepperoni and cheese, chicken and cheese, and double cheese. That's business. CJ Papa, Fox News.
In the economy tonight, a new report examines what everyday Americans think about inflation.
Well, Fox 17 News' Angela Brown hits the streets to find out.
Just ask almost any American about inflation.
Prices have gone up and above what's normal.
And you'll hear stories of financial pain.
I remember that last year my rent didn't increase, but this year it increased.
But what do Americans really know about inflation? Survey results from Morning Consult published in Axios asked that question to roughly 2,200 everyday Americans.
Do you think it's gone up higher than it was last year?
Yeah, absolutely.
Morning Consult found the large majority of consumers correctly identified inflation as being more than just high prices, but incorrectly believe annual inflation is higher today than a year ago. While it's true that the rate of inflation has slowed, that doesn't mean prices have dropped. Greg McBride, Bankrate.
That's been really pronounced over the last 4 years, where prices have gone up a cumulative 22%. It's that 22% that's in people's minds when they're looking at price tags in the supermarket or anywhere else. It's not, gee, what was it exactly 12 months ago at this time?
Axios is reporting the majority of respondents were split between people who think that inflation means prices being high, about 20% said that, and those who think it means prices outpacing wages, about a third said that. But we just wanted to know if folks are worried about inflation.
Inflation increases the prices of rent, increases the prices of the food that you buy every day. So, of course, I am worried about inflation.
Are you worried about inflation?
I'm not worried about it, no.
Okay.
Right now, inflation's at 3.3%. Over the year ending, though, in June 2023, consumer prices increased 3.0%. A year earlier, in June 2022, the 12-month increase in overall prices was 9.1%. So all that inflation is stacked on top of each other, representing the prices we are paying now. But the inflation rate overall is lower than 2 years ago. Reporting in Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
Turning to the weather, wicked weather that is, Tropical Storm Alberto, the first named tropical storm of the Atlantic hurricane season, churning toward Texas as we speak. The leading edge of the storm, in fact, is already pushing some water inland. Like you see here in downtown Galveston, you've got water in the street. You see a truck trudging through and a guy pulling a huge pool float there in the middle of the road. There's enough water to support it, I guess. Alberto set to make landfall in Mexico later tonight. Galveston is a little over 12 hours in terms of drive time from Nashville. The coastal city is near the bottom of our map. You see the Gulf of Mexico here. This is Houston. This is Galveston. Again, we're talking maybe an hour east of Houston in terms of where that's located. You can see the coastal water warnings, the flood warnings from Galveston on the map.
So we want to start with Tropical Storm Alberto as the rain continues to pour into Texas. And again, a great reminder that you don't need to be in the cone to see tropical impacts. And that's the case here in Texas, the cone well into Mexico. And that's where Alberto will actually make landfall, but you can see that we've got severe weather, even a few tornado warnings just north of Corpus Christi over the past hour. This is a tropical storm warning that's in effect with surge and then rainfall. Rainfall's been a big story here. These are some of the totals just in the past 24 hours. And notice that, especially with tropical systems, you'll find a big plume of inches of rain and then a couple spots that have a lot more, like these little bullseyes that you see near Rockport, and another one just north of Corpus Christi. So again, the rain continues to be a big problem for folks along coastal Texas, and will continue, unfortunately, for at least another 12 hours or so before starting to quiet down. First day of summer tomorrow, officially here at 3:51 Central Time. And again, we'll be looking at some summer-like weather the next several days. 85 by 10 o'clock. Mainly sunny skies as we head into the afternoon. A little more sunshine expected than the last few days where we've been stuck under the clouds. Temperature around 93 at 2 and 93 at 5, and in between that we should hit our afternoon high around 95 or so. Dry weather continues Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. Maybe a stray shower chance for us Friday and Saturday, but nothing that'll do too much to help you with watering the garden. So that'll be needing to take care of over the next several days here, with really not a great opportunity for rain any day this week and into the weekend. We walk you through the forecast for tomorrow here. Again, the cloud cover lifting. This will be a story for us. So more sunshine as we head through the day. We get into the afternoon, those fair weather cumulus will start to pop up, and the potential for a stray storm as we head into Friday more than Thursday. So dry tomorrow. We head towards Friday morning around 8 o'clock. You can see that we're looking at a partly to mostly cloudy sky. A pop-up shower can't be completely ruled out. Most of us, again, staying dry as we head into Saturday. And again, we'll do it all over just like what we had for Friday, with most of us hitting close to 100 degrees. And again, that stray shower chance. That remains the story through Sunday. Maybe a few pop-ups for Monday and Tuesday of next week, with highs from the upper 90s Monday to the low 90s by Wednesday.
Tennessee baseball making history today, advancing to the College World Series finals. How they hope to keep the Big Orange momentum going this weekend.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are
Tennessee Vols continuing their dominance in Omaha today, taking down Florida State. And now the Vols are back in the World Series finals for the first time since 1951. Yes, it has been that long. Vols taking on that same Florida State team they beat in a come-from-behind thriller last Friday. But this time, Vols in full control. Top of the first with 2 runners on. Hunter Ensley coming up clutch with a line drive off John Abraham. 1 run coming in for Tennessee, and the Vols take a 2-0 lead. Now check out this next play. Bottom of the first, Vols outfielder Kavares Tears crashes into the wall and still comes up with the catch. Some spectacular plays by Tennessee's outfield all postseason, and that's certainly one of them. 4th inning, Vols keep it going. Christian Moore rips this pitch down the line for a triple. That will make it 5-0 Tennessee, and the Vols don't stop there. 9th inning, Blake Burke, cherry on top. Vols starting pitcher Xander Sechrist allowing just 2 earned runs in 6 innings of work. Had a great night. Vols take down Florida State 7-2 and advance to the College World Series finals.
There's we can always say before something happens, and there's been a lot of build up into the successes we've had this year and the failures too, to be honest with you. And it's just been fun to be a part of. And as far as my emotions, I'm kind of at the point where I'm just following these guys. There's certain tasks that I have to do, and there's direction that I give them, and they'll listen, but kind of following them right now makes it nice.
Vols back in that championship series for the first time since 1951, and that 3-game series will begin on Saturday. Jill Jelnick, Fox 17 Sports, your Code Red station.
It's been shown to help reduce the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. I'm Liz Bonus. We're going to show you a unique kind of fitness just ahead.
In your health news tonight, a fitness plan designed for adults with movement disorders.
And there are a lot of them. We're talking 42 million. And as Fox 17 News medical reporter Liz Bonus shows us, it is impacting almost an equal number of women and men.
Hey there, everybody. Physical activity has been shown to improve the symptoms of many neurological conditions, including Parkinson's disease.
That's one of the reasons Joe Schweitzer says he participates in this chair yoga class. But there's a few others, too.
The casual atmosphere, the camaraderie.
Here at Ohio's Parkinson Community Fitness, the program targets the specific needs of a movement disorder.
They all have Parkinson's disease or Parkinsonism. Some may have dementia, Alzheimer's disease.
That means stretching to fight rigidity, a focus on coordination for one-sided symptoms, breathing for voice improvement, even handiwork for handwriting challenges.
It's honestly for any fitness level. And what's great about it is that they're working on symptom-specific exercises for Parkinson's.
They also have the option of balance partners, as they're called. It's why Rick participates with his wife, Lynn.
The exercise is great, and when we leave here, we feel not only physically but mentally refreshed and strengthened.
Co-founder Lisa Kors says with this fitness program, that's exactly the point.
Our three pieces are exercise, support, and social.
Lisa says often when people are diagnosed with an illness like this one, they become too shy to interact with others. Not so for Joe, however.
You work hard to get the most out of your workouts, and that's what I try to keep a positive attitude about what's going on.
You see, some of the benefit here is simply the power of togetherness.
When she comes, she feels strengthened a lot.
And ask any member here. They know the tough stuff, it's only overcome by strength from within.
Kind of motivating to all of us, isn't it? With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Another hot one on tap for tomorrow.